talk a minute about how our building the matriarchy can't look like how the patriarchy did it. Hi, I'm Katie McDonald. I'm the founder of Build the Matriarchy. Let's talk about this for a second. So, patriarchy has been around, as we've talked before, for thousands of years. Some historians estimate 5 to 6,000 years is when we started to see the emergence of a patriarchal society. And it implemented its views and perspectives and structures through oppression and power and control. I don't think we're going to be able to replace patriarchy by using a patriarchal approach. So, in other words, I don't think we're going to be able to take over from the top down and make big sweeping policy changes and force people to agree politically or philosophically with what we're trying to do. Instead, I think the best approach for matriarchy to be built is to be built up from the ground up. So, in other words, we have to connect with our communities. We have to actually talk to our neighbors. We have to get to know people in our cities, in our local communities, and start having these critical conversations and exerting influence through persuasive discussion on these topics. And how are we going to do that? Well, we have to do that by finding out what people care about, finding out what it is that they're troubled by, what fears do they have, whether, regardless of how they voted, what drives them, what gets them out of bed every day, what do they care about? They care about their family, they care about being able to make a living, they care about being healthy, being, having some extra money to have a vacation once in a while, whatever it is, right? So rather than approach these conversations from a political lens, approach them from a human lens. Talk to people about what they care about and help build a coalition of people who desire to have a more healthy, inclusive, equitable society, and that we can together change the trajectory of our nation. Right now, we're seeing the absolute death rattle of white male patriarchy and white male supremacy, trying so hard to hang on to the old ways. They're straight up, dismantling things like DEI and then blaming disasters on DEI, even though they just dismantled it. Some of them are straight out saying it would be better if we had qualified white men leading things. I mean, they're just not even hiding anymore. They're just straight out saying what they really believe in their hearts. But I think we're seeing this coup, this attempt to take over the American, governmental system by people who are so desperate not to lose their identity because they don't know who they are outside of the patriarchy. So I think part of our job in building the matriarchy is showing them that it's not something so scary to let go of. They still absolutely have value. They are not going to be oppressed under a matriarchy. We are not like them. We don't do things, we don't lead, we don't structure the way that they do. They aren't identical systems that, men are in charge of and then women are in charge of. It's not like that. And that they can find their identity, their true identity, in a society that accepts them for who they are and not for the role that they've assigned to themselves, right? So to sum up, I don't believe we are going to successfully build the matriarchy by using a patriarchal approach to do it. I think we have to think very differently and act very differently than they do in order to be successful. What are your thoughts?